Gabinete. Son las 10 de la mañana con 48 minutos. La señal es completamente en directo desde Casa Presidencial en Zapote. Vamos a pedirle a los compañeros de la prensa que nos ayuden con ese teléfono, por favor. Ya, muchísimas gracias. Ahora sí, damos la bienvenida al presidente de la República, Rodrigo Chaves, y al señor Marco Rubio. Primero las palabras del presidente Rodrigo Chaves Robles.
Muy buenos días, compatriotas. Esta muy feliz ocasión de la visita del jefe de las Relaciones Exteriores del principal aliado de Costa Rica en el mundo, se ve opacada en este momento al haberse hecho pública la muerte del oficial Gainer Zamora del organismo de investigación judicial, quien fue cobardemente asesinado por miembros de los grupos criminales que estamos peleando con toda nuestra fuerza y con el apoyo de los Estados Unidos. Mis condolencias más sentidas a la familia de don Gainer, a su señora esposa, doña Susana. Creo que esto nos debe hacer reflexionar de por qué nosotros en este país tenemos que endurecer nuestras leyes contra el sicariato, el narcotráfico y el narcotráfico internacional. No es un tema de darle más o gastar más dinero, es un tema de asegurarse que quienes son peligros para la sociedad sean puestos en la cárcel y
sent to jail and make sure they remain there. On a different note, it is a great honor on a personal level, Mr. Secretary, to receive this visit from such a high-level official from our main ally, the United States of America, Mr. Marco Rubio. I believe the relationship between both countries is strong, where we agree on what we want for our respective people. We want prosperity, we want peace, we want law and order. We want our states and our societies to be prosperous, where people have the right to be happy and pursue their own happiness. And that is why we have had this historical relationship with the United States. During this visit, we were able to outline our ongoing cooperation roadmap with this new administration, and I believe that we reached significant agreements around illegal immigration. We understand that Costa Rica is one of the most prosperous countries in Latin America, and it is a destination for migration. We also understand that we need to strengthen our fight against international organized crime, which is something that Mr. Secretary has very generously offered to continue helping with and help us with the waivers that freeze aid in that area for our country. We also talked about cybersecurity, but I would like you to hear from him about all the details. But nonetheless, Mrs. Secretary, it's an honor, it's a pleasure, and I believe that we have paved the way for a joint work based on shared values, interests, and hopes. Welcome to Costa Rica. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for being here. Thank you for this warm welcome to the this warm country that's an ally with the United States, where we have a lot in common. We have shared history, values, and people. A lot of American people have decided to move to Costa Rica and live here, and I believe that that's because of the stability and security that this country has to offer. We also want to express our most deepest condolences for the loss of life of that officer that faced organized crime. And the most sacred thing that a government can offer to the society is security. We have talked about common ground today. First of all, we talked about 5G and the importance of having cybersecurity. All of the technologies that will advance the economies in this century will be based on telecommunication and technology. And you have been very kind because you will not allow companies that pose a threat to national security or economic security and to and when you take a stand against companies like that, there's consequences, there's threats, there's blackmailing, and there's attempts to infiltrate uh, different government agencies. And you have had a staunch position on that, and we will continue to work and help with that. Because this is an issue, cybersecurity, that we also face in the United States. In this country, they have over 100 million cyber attacks a year. That is unacceptable. And we continue to build up on what we have so that we can face this foreign threat. Because this threat is used to compromise your system and threaten the state and its economy. This is something that we need to discuss and we will cooperate on. Unfortunately, when there's efforts like these, there are individuals in power and in certain agencies that are willing, for different reasons, to support that which is contrary to the interest of the state and its people. So we will work together to see what kind of consequences we will impose when something like that happens, and to see how we can help you to punish this attitude by high-ranking government officials that are not working for the good of their national interests. So anything that we can do to help in that, we will. In terms of national security, we have the threat of these drug terrorist groups that use your country because of your geographic location as a transit point, with all the problems that come with that. So we will collaborate with you. We will investigate to see how we can involve the DEA and the FBI from the United States working under your security teams here so that they can investigate cases that are around drugs that are to be sent to the United States and other places. But this is work that we are gonna build on. I would like to congratulate you. I was here only once before in 2017 for the first time when that problem was just starting to surface. And you have done a commendable effort to face that, so we will support you 100%. And finally, in terms of migration, you are a country that is not only used for transit but destination as well, because this is an advanced economy where there is job opportunities and a lot of people want to stay. But you have also seen that there has been an attempt to come through your borders migration that are from different contexts, like in continents such as Africa. And these people may have ties to terrorism, but they were en route to the United States. So we will continue to work as strongly as ever with biometrics, etc., to identify these people and prevent them from damaging you, us, or any other country in the region for that matter. And one of my priorities is to ensure that the U.S. foreign policy sends a signal that it's better to be a friend than an enemy. It's better to be an ally than a troublemaker. And unfortunately, this has not been the case in the past, in several administrations in the past, and this is a complaint that I heard time after time while my time in the Senate, that sometimes it's better to be the United States enemy than friend, because if you are your friend, you're overlooked and ignored and even criticized. But if you are an enemy, they want to come up with some arrangement, negotiate, and we cannot have a foreign policy that rewards those who want to harm us and ignore those who cooperate with us. This is going to change under President Trump's administration, and I hope that today's visit is the initial signal that say that President Trump will be a friend to their allies and will work together with their allies, especially when it's a country like this that we take as an example, as a model that we would like other countries around the world to follow. If I may briefly say a few words in English.
Lo quiere hacer en inglés también, un inglés perfecto.
He speaks perfect English, by the way.
Briefly, it's important to be here in Costa Rica. It's a country that I believe is a model for what we want to see other countries in the region become, and frankly, the world. And there's so much to work together on. First, I want to congratulate and thank the President. They've been very firm on the security of their 5G system, on only allowing trusted vendors to bid on it. It's important. 5G is going to be critical technology for the development of all of the industries that are going to drive the 21st century. But it has to be secure. And when you confront companies that are not secure, they're backed by governments like the government of China that likes to threaten, that likes to sabotage, that likes to use economic coercion to punish you. And they've been very firm, and I think they deserve a lot of support in confronting that and in carrying out a process of responsibly bringing 5G, which is going to be essential to future economic development. This is a country that's also facing a cybersecurity issue. It's very serious. 110 million cyber attacks a year. For a country of this size, it's extraordinary. And they have faced it very bravely. We're going to continue to work on what we're already doing together to help them secure their telecommunication systems and more broadly against cyber attacks. I think it's also important to understand that oftentimes, unfortunately, when you confront elements such as these, there are efforts to undermine your institutions by individuals in the government that should be working in the national interest, but instead have found, for some reason, to become complicit with malign actors. And so we're going to try to work in cooperation with you to impose costs on those within the country who use their positions of authority to undermine the interests of the people of Costa Rica and in favor of a malign foreign actor. And the issue of narco traffickers, this is not a country that produces drugs because of geography. It is a place where people, these elements, try to traffic drugs. And you've done extraordinary work in preventing those drugs from getting out. And we're going to continue to work with you on providing the technologies that these waivers are about today to prevent the exportation of drugs. But when you confront these groups, they become violent, and they become vicious. And so we want to see how we can work, perhaps by allowing more DEA and FBI resources to conduct investigations together with your police and your law enforcement to identify and help you capture and arrest them and bring them to justice. And last but not least, on the issue of migration, which is a catastrophe, mass migration. Costa Rica is not a source of migration, but it is a route that's used for migration. Because it's an advanced economy, unlike many of the other countries along the migratory route, some decide to stay, and you've done that at great cost, especially due to the instability in Nicaragua, where so many have left to flee that, but the cost, 20% of the population at this point here is from another country, and I know it's been extraordinary. But the one area we've really worked very closely on is biometric data sharing. We want to build on that because we are seeing, you've seen, and they've confronted here, elements from all over the world, from other continents, from Africa, from the Middle East, that have links to terrorism, that have been stopped through our biometric sharing programs and identified and prevented from moving forward and doing God knows what if they had ever reached the United States. That's an important partnership, and it's one we want to build on, and we're going to look for opportunities to build on and make stronger than ever through intelligence sharing, biometric sharing in real time, and very close coordination to ensure that this never becomes a place where terrorists can transit and do harm somewhere else. It's an honor to be here. As I said, one of my priorities as Secretary of State is to ensure that under President Trump we have a foreign policy